Plenty of people are just like, yeah, of course I'm British. Part of my Britishness is halal meat. Part of my Britishness is going to the mosque on a Friday. Sometimes it's not the things people write poems about, or it's not the things we speak about on a big platform, because we're outside any of these boxes, like we're doing it. There's a million different ways to exist. I'm Suhaiymah. I recently had a poem go viral on the internet called "This Is Not a Humanising Poem." Basically, I write. Sometimes that writing is important, and sometimes people listen to it, and sometimes I speak about it. But I'm just someone trying to make people feel. I grew up in Leeds, so the school I went to was diverse racially. I knew I was brown, I knew I was a Muslim. Like, I used Mrs. Siddle's classroom to pray at lunchtime. That I got into Cambridge University, where I was like, wow, this is amazing. This is the first time in my life where I realized they're not seeing the me that I knew myself to be. All they're seeing is a brown girl wearing a headscarf, or a headscarf with a brown girl in it. That like broke me a little bit. And I think that was the first time I also realized that validating other people's lived experience is one of the most fundamental things that we can do as marginalized people. Just saying to someone, I hear you and I see you, and what you're saying is true, because we live in essentially a world where we're constantly manipulated to believe that what we're feeling is not valid and is not there. I was going through like a really low phase, and somebody advised me, do something that you've always wanted to do but never thought you could do. I love watching YouTube videos of spoken word and slam poets, but that's not something I could do. So she was like, do that. So I went and found the local scene, I guess, and I performed there, and I really enjoyed it. And then I just would perform more and get involved with slam stuff at uni. The things that I talk about in my poetry are generally the things that I feel about most, and I think the times I write my best is when I'm angry. The things that I'm angry about are usually to do with injustices to do with race, gender, religion, the kind of categories that people want to put me in. Quite a lot of my poems will often have a line from something someone actually said to me, and then it'll be my response that I never said out loud, but that I can now talk through. I guess it's what people would call identity politics, but I just see it as like the things that I'm angry about. I think our identities are politicized. If you're born into this world and you're racialized as soon as you're born, you're gendered as soon as you're born, you're born into politics. You don't pick to politicize your identities. I think it's really hard for Muslim women who are anyway like a public figure, because how do you do that without Muslim woman being your primary identity? It's the privilege to exist complexly, and that is what so many people don't have. And I think in that sense, yeah, you get asked to do certain things because it's like, wow, you're an articulate Muslim woman, great, or you did well in your GCSEs, great. But I want to be able to do those things, and I want you to treat me just the same way you treat all other Muslims, and I want you to recognize that I am them. You know, it's those things when people are like, oh wow, your English is so good, or you're not like other Muslims, or you're not like other whatevers. No, I am. And if you hate them, then hate me too, because I don't want to have this fake conversation with you where you're allowing me to have it. I've just been thinking a lot about progressive, liberal, white friends, and just how it's actually really hurtful that they can laugh with me, have jokes with me, we can go for dinner and lunch, but at the end of the day, do they see other Muslims as humans? You know, like women in burqas or women who don't speak English, and if they don't, then that hurts me, because it's like, well, you're not actually loving me in a wholesome way. You're just loving the bits of me that you're like, oh, I recognize that because I also do that. You get to the places you get to because somebody threw a ladder down, right? You can come up that ladder and you can hold the ladder up behind you, or you can extend another ladder down. So my poem going viral, gaining a bit of a platform. Now I have to be super aware to not just use that to be like, hey, make some money, have some fun. No, I have to make sure I'm saying things that are important and that will actually like, resonate with people. And also because I think there's a real lack of love. We're losing that in society. We don't necessarily think about love in a deep sense. We think about, I think, in a very superficial sense. I think we need to broaden our idea of love is what I mean. So say, to expect people to be things that they maybe can't be, or things that don't allow them to fully express themselves, is an unloving thing to do. And so I think what I mean by society needs more love is just allowing people to be themselves, I guess. And so then it fits in with everything that I've talked about, which is the complexity, that you don't have to fit these categories, you don't have to do these things. And so, yeah, I think like loving just needs to be a bit bigger and a bit broader. Not to go all Quranic, but I think the idea in Islam is actually really liberating, that the only thing you're accountable to is God, gives you the space to exist however you need to. And I think a lot of people know inside themselves what is injustice. If we can find that place to speak from, which is this isn't right, and I can say that, if we have the safety and the comfort to do that, we should do that. And if we don't have the safety and comfort to do that from, then survival is the key thing, right? And survive in whatever ways you need to, and don't let anyone tell you that the way you're surviving is not authentic enough, not good enough, not brave enough, not Muslim enough. You survive if you need to survive. And for any other sister who has got a platform, got some safety, got some comfort, you have to help out. Like, you can't just go get into the House of Lords and have a good time. You have to, if you're gonna go into those like hallowed halls and then not complain and pretend that you didn't come from something, you're also tricking yourself, because like I say, when they come for you, what are you gonna do? If you're writing stuff and no one is platforming it, platform yourself. So that's essentially what I did. I just started my own blog. My friends read it, you know, they were obliged to. But then some of them maybe shared it. Slowly, over 2 years, random people read my blog now. And so I think the key is, don't be deterred by the fact that maybe you're producing an alternative narrative and no one wants to hear that. When you email, you know, the Independent and they're like, sorry, the news cycle has changed today. We don't care about nuanced deconstructions today. Just keep writing, platform yourself, because people need to hear your voice if you're writing important things. And the second thing is, write your truth, because that's always going to be the best writing that you write. It's the way that you'll be able to write most beautifully, because it will be most honest. I don't need to change the world by overthrowing institutions. I need to change people, even if that's one person. And even if that change is just provoking or enabling or validating, then that to me is the revolution. It's every day, and it's what you do and you say to people and how you make them feel. And if you do that enough, the institutions will change. And so I don't know what that means I'll be doing concretely, like day to day, but that's what I would love to do. Change the world, one tiny drop that I might be able to contribute.